Welcome to our channel, where we dive into the darkest and most mysterious tales. Tonight, we journey into the heart of fear, into the skeletal remains of abandoned giants. We bring you 3 spine-chilling stories of ghostly figures in deserted high-rise buildings. Turn off the lights, sit back, and prepare to be haunted. Let the chill seep into your bones as we begin. Our first story takes us to the desolate heart of the city, a towering testament to forgotten dreams. The abandoned office building stood tall against the storm-ridden sky, now home only to shadows and whispers. They say the building was once a hive of activity, bustling with life, dreams being chased, deadlines being met. Now the silence was deafening. The flickering lights in the distance, just a trick of the dying storm, or perhaps something else. A lone figure, a security guard braving the storm and the solitude, making his rounds. He could feel the weight of the emptiness, the silence pressing in on him, amplifying every creak and groan of the old building. He shone his flashlight down a darkened hallway, the beam swallowed by the oppressive darkness. Just static on his walkie-talkie, the only sound other than the howling wind outside. He reached the executive floor, a once prestigious space now gathering dust and decay. The air grew heavy, thick with an unseen presence. He could have sworn he saw a flicker of movement in the reflection of the glass-walled office at the end of the hall. He froze, every sense on high alert, his blood turning to ice. The flickering lights cast long dancing shadows, playing tricks on his eyes. He took a hesitant step forward, then another, drawn towards the office as if by an unseen force. He reached the office, its glass walls offering a panoramic view of the desolate city below. The nameplate on the desk glinted in the dim light. Mr. Blackwood, CEO. The air grew colder, the silence now broken by the faintest of whispers, like silk rustling in the wind. He strained to make out the words, a sense of dread creeping up his spine. And then he saw her, a figure, translucent, almost mist-like, standing by the window gazing out at the city. It was a woman, dressed in what appeared to be an old business suit, her features obscured by the shadows. The guard stumbled back, his heart pounding in his chest. Our next tale takes us to the outskirts of the city, to a complex that was meant to be a haven but now stood as a grim reminder of what once was. The deserted apartment complex loomed over the street, a concrete behemoth, its windows like vacant eyes staring out into the night. It had been years since laughter echoed in its halls, since the smell of home-cooked meals wafted from its apartments. Now only silence and shadows resided within its walls. The story goes that the complex was evacuated after a series of unexplained events. Tenants complained of strange noises, disembodied voices, and a constant feeling of being watched. Then came the sightings. A young woman, her face pale and drawn, her eyes filled with an otherworldly sorrow, was seen wandering the halls at night. Some said she was searching for something, or someone, lost to her in the depths of the building. One by one, families packed up and left, their dreams of a peaceful life shattered by the unsettling events. Soon, the once vibrant complex stood empty, a shell of its former self. One night, a group of teenagers, emboldened by youthful bravado and a thirst for the unknown, decided to explore the abandoned complex. Armed with flashlights and nervous laughter, they snuck past the flimsy barriers, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and excitement. The air inside was heavy, thick with dust and the stench of decay. It clung to their throats, choking their laughter and replacing it with an uneasy silence. They wandered through the darkened hallways, their flashlights cutting through the gloom, illuminating the remnants of lives once lived, discarded toys, faded photographs on the walls, a single shoe lying abandoned in the middle of a room. As they climbed higher, the atmosphere grew heavier, the silence more profound. The teenagers could feel their senses sharpening, their hearts pounding in their chests. It was then that they heard it. A soft sob carried on the air, seeming to emanate from the walls themselves. They froze, listening intently, their bravado quickly fading in the face of the unknown. One of the teenagers, a boy named Jake, pointed his flashlight towards the sound. It illuminated a doorway at the end of the hallway, its paint peeling, the door slightly ajar. The sobbing grew louder, laced with an undercurrent of despair that sent shivers down their spines. Drawn by a morbid curiosity, they slowly approached the doorway, their steps hesitant, their breaths shallow. Jake pushed the door open and the sobbing ceased. The room was dark, except for a sliver of moonlight filtering through a gap in the curtains. As their eyes adjusted, they made out the figure of a woman sitting on the floor, her back to them, her shoulders shaking gently. She was dressed in a white gown, her long dark hair cascading down her back. Our final tale takes us to a monument of human ambition, now a chilling testament to the unseen forces that linger in our world. The forsaken skyscraper pierced the heavens, a beacon of arrogance, now tarnished by time and tragedy. Its glass facade, once reflecting the boundless optimism of the city, now stood as a mosaic of broken promises, reflecting the storm clouds gathering overhead. Local lore whispered of a history soaked in darkness. They say the skyscraper was built upon a Native American burial ground, a sacred site desecrated in the name of progress. Construction was plagued by accidents, each fatality fueling the whispers of a curse. Workers claimed to hear voices chanting in the wind, to see shadowy figures moving at the edge of their vision. But ambition, fueled by greed, is often deaf to the whispers of caution. The skyscraper was completed, a shining monument to human ingenuity, but its triumph was short-lived. A series of unexplained events began to plague the building. Elevators would malfunction, stopping at random floors, trapping occupants for hours in the cold, unsettling darkness. Lights flickered erratically, plunging offices into darkness, casting grotesque shadows that danced and writhed on the walls. And then there were the sightings. A security guard on his nightly rounds swore he saw a group of children, their eyes glowing an unnatural white, staring at him from the reflection of a darkened window. A cleaning lady, arriving before dawn, claimed to have seen a shadowy figure, tall and imposing, with eyes that burned like hot coals, standing at the end of a hallway, only to vanish into thin air when she called out. The stories spread like wildfire, each retelling adding to the building's sinister reputation. Tenants began to complain of a feeling of unease, of being watched, of cold spots that persisted even on the hottest days. Productivity plummeted, businesses failed, and one by one the tenants moved out, unwilling to share their space with the unseen entities that seemed to have taken up residence. The skyscraper, once a symbol of prosperity, now stood empty, a monument to fear, its windows like vacant eyes staring out over the city. One night, a team of paranormal investigators, drawn by the building's dark allure and the countless stories of unexplained phenomena, decided to spend the night within its desolate halls. Armed with EMF readers, thermal cameras, and a healthy dose of apprehension, they entered the building, their footsteps echoing in the vast emptiness. They set up their equipment on the top floor, the very heart of the skyscraper, hoping to capture evidence of the entities that haunted its halls. As darkness descended, the energy in the building seemed to shift. The air grew thick, charged with an unseen electricity. The investigators could feel their hearts beating faster, their breaths growing shallow. The silence was broken by the faint sound of drumming, rhythmic and insistent, seeming to emanate from the very walls of the building. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed these terrifying tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-chilling stories. The night is long, and the shadows are deep. There are countless tales waiting to be told, countless whispers echoing in the darkness. Share your own ghostly encounters in the comments below. Let us know what chilled you to the bone, what kept you up at night. Your stories fuel the darkness, and we thrive on your fear. Until next time, stay safe and stay scared. Sweet dreams if you dare.